sure I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is KUGAN. No, that's not even Irish. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's start it properly. Let's start it normally. This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's fight week. We're in the Fight Hotel here. I'm joined by the Diva, Mr. Gary Cully, looking very relaxed. How are you, mate?
It's the loony actually this week on my shorts. My granddad passed away back in May, so just get that out there before Saturday night that he's on my shorts. It's not the Diva on the waistband this Saturday, it's the loony. That was his name. It's the first fight that he'll miss, so he'll be in my corner on Saturday night, and looking forward to putting on a show for him and everybody else.
All right. Very sorry to hear about the passing of your granddad, and yeah, it's a fitting tribute. So we'll see the loony, not the Diva, this weekend.
Yeah, a bit of a mixture of both, I think. There's probably been a bit of a mixture in all my previous fights so far, but yeah, this one's for him on Saturday night. So.
I know you've made some references on your social media posts to saying this is your Matchroom debut, but I mean, technically, is it your Matchroom debut? Because your fight against Mikel Vasquez was on a Matchroom show. Technically, isn't that your debut for Matchroom or not?
Well, technically, I actually fought in my second or third pro fight against Josh Thorne in the SSE arena on a Matchroom.
Now you're getting really technical. Yeah.
So it's actually my Matchroom debut now, but this is my first fight as a Matchroom fighter, I suppose, since I signed the deal back in August. So technically, it's my debut, and I'm looking forward to putting on a show for my debut. So I've been using my debut as motivation. So yeah, it is my debut on Saturday night. Yeah.
It is your debut. Where we've watched your career kind of unfold over the last sort of few years, and you've put in some very notable performances, some spectacular knockouts. I think people that kind of know you within the boxing industry and obviously just outside of that have always kind of cried out for you to be given the opportunity on a big platform. You did get that against Vasquez, but then it was also a case of maintaining that into a promotional deal, which you have now with Matchroom. So talk to me about it. I know we've spoken about that when you signed with Eddie Hearn, but that part of it was kind of the missing jigsaw bit of you being portrayed to a wider audience.
Yeah, for sure. I've been, like you said, the last couple of years I've been pro, like nearly 6 years now. And I've been putting on big performances over the last couple of years. Irish title fight, first round knockout, WBO European second round knockout. Obviously I got the big fight with Vasquez then, and knocked him out in 5 rounds as well. So I've been putting in big performances, and I've always said I've been waiting on the promotional backing to get on the proper platforms, get seen by the wider audience, and once I do that I can showcase what I can do, and I believe the sky is the limit after that. So thankfully it was a long process. Obviously after March I was in limbo for a bit. I had no promoter, I didn't really know what I was doing, no fights, and then Eddie came in with an offer. There was a couple of other offers on the table, but like I said to you previously, I've always seen myself with Matchroom, and that's the road I wanted to go down. Push for that deal, got that deal done, and here we are. So yeah, excited.
Just coming back to that Vasquez fight, I think at that time for you, because Vasquez had been over here and in some people's eyes been on the wrong end of a couple of decisions here, notably to Lewis Ritson and also to O'Hara Davis. So the fact that kind of that win was how it was in your favour, just to kind of, because he's come over here and a lot of people have had their opinion about Vasquez, like I said, edging those fights. But yeah, you didn't leave that to kind of people's opinion, that fight, did you?
No, and I try not to every fight. I said in an interview earlier on, I go into every fight thinking it won't go the distance. That's my type of style. I'm coming for your head from round one, and that's what I do. Obviously, Vasquez, like you said, he was back here previous to the fight with me. I thought he beat Ritson. I watched that fight, and I obviously watched it back in camp for Vasquez as well. I thought he won that fight, and O'Hara actually thought he beat when he beat him when he fought O'Hara. O'Hara admitted that he thought he beat him, so he'd been over here. I think his record, it was 44-10 when I fought him, but it could have been somewhere around like take 2 or 3 wins or 2 or 3 losses off that record and add them as wins, because he went on the road a couple of times and got hard done by. So I knew it was a big fight. It was a huge step up for me after obviously fighting like the likes of Katochikovs and stuff for Joe Fitzpatrick for Irish titles. It's a massive step up to fight the likes of a Vasquez on a big show. Conlon versus Wood world title fight, loads of Irish in the house. It was a big occasion to deal with as well, and yeah, I took it in my stride and believed that's where I'm meant to be. So I put in a massive performance in March, and it's got me to here. So yeah.
You said just previously in this interview that you had other options. Why did you think that Eddie Hearn was the best person promotionally to guide your career?
I've grown up watching Matchroom cards, Cooks, and I've always seen myself fighting on Matchroom cards. I have a vision for myself and where I want my career to go, and where I see myself ending up, and Matchroom has always been part of my plans from day one, since even before I turned professional. I think they're the biggest in the game and the best in the game at the minute, doing things on a global scale, making the biggest fights, and I want to be involved in the biggest fights with the biggest names, and I believe I'm in the right place to do that. So,
what has Eddie Hearn said to you this week? Did you have a chance to talk to him?
Not a proper conversation, just obviously greeted him and said hello, but we had a meeting a couple of weeks back in Nottingham, and we've got big plans. Obviously he mentioned at the press conference the plans for Croke Park in 2023, so that's a major part of my plans. It's a big part of my dreams, and a big goal that I have set. So I think we're not far off. I see it. When I first turned pro, it mightn't have been possible, and things are starting to work themselves out, and I believe it's a major possibility for next year if the Irish get behind it. I believe on Matchroom's side of things, if it's down to Matchroom, it'll happen 100%. So we need Croke Park to get behind it, the Irish government to get behind it, and the Irish people to get behind it, and I believe we'll see a special night in Croke Park next summer.
Obviously you are on the undercard of Katie Taylor, the undisputed lightweight champion. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this depends on kind of her as well, kind of spearheading that charge towards getting that fight at Croke Park, which she's made no secret about. That's what she wants to do as before she retires, obviously. And we don't know how long Katie Taylor's going to be fighting for. Obviously, she's coming towards the kind of the back end of her career. I don't think anyone will dispute that. But I think, yeah, Croke Park next summer, it needs to be next summer, because if it goes on past that, then you do question whether that's ever going to happen.
Of course, like, as much as I would love to see it, fighters can't go on forever, you know. And I've grown up watching Katie. Like, I remember being 10, 11 years old, seeing Katie, 12 years old, 13 years old, seeing Katie winning like European and world gold medals, and then going onto the Irish team as a youth and looking up to Katie when she was a senior boxer there, training for world and European championships, being like 15, 16 and getting the opportunity to spar her back when I was growing up and going through the ranks in the amateur system. And now 10 years later, I'm a professional, 14-0, trying to guide my career in the right direction to win world titles myself, and here she is still leading the way with all the belts at lightweight, you know. So what she's done is absolutely amazing. She's an inspiration for us all, and I think it would be a big shame if we didn't see it, because I think she walks on water in Ireland. She's a god in Ireland, and I think she really deserves to fight at home. So, like I said, I believe from boxing's point of view, from Matchroom's point of view, I believe it's 100% going to happen if it's possible. I think what we need is for the Irish people and the Irish government to get behind Matchroom, get behind Katie, and to make it happen, because it's one she deserves. Obviously one I hope happens, because for Katie and for myself, obviously, but it's a major possibility, and I think it will go down in history books in Ireland. When my kids are in school, it'll be in their history books. Like, you know, it's a magic special night for Ireland, and I think it would be a shame if we didn't see it.
Absolutely. If I was to say to you, over the next 2 years, you can pick your next 3 opponents, open book, who do you pick over the next 2 years?
there was talk of CASSIUS for quite a bit. I'd like that fight for the IBO title in Croke Park in May. That would be nice. Good friends with Maxi. He's a great guy, great fighter, but business. Let's just give Maxi a good send-off and get me a big fight in Croke Park for a world title. That's number one on the list. And then I suppose it's the big names, like, isn't it? It's the Haney's, it's the Lomas. I've always had a vision of fighting Lomachenko for some reason, and I've never been in the same vicinity of him. I've never met him, I've never trained with him, but I've always had a vision of me fighting Lomachenko for some reason. So I'd love to share the ring with Loma. Growing up again watching him like Katie, and being a big fan of his. So I'd love to share the ring with him. And then I think hasn't fought in the division yet, but the best in the division, Shakur. Shakur has been, I remember sparring with Shakur when we were 14 years old back in hallways and hotels in Russia when he was on the USA team and I was on the Irish team, and we've always said since then that we're going to share a ring. And I said Vegas back then and make some money, and he agreed. Whether it be Vegas, whether it be Ireland, whether it be wherever it is, Shakur is the top of the division now. I believe, obviously he doesn't have the belts yet, but him stepping up to 135 is massive. So CASSIUS, Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko.
All within a 2-year plan?
Yeah, I'm only 26 as well, you know, so I can possibly go for 4 years. But yeah, no, I want, like I said, Eddie said at the press conference earlier on, sent me over a 16-0 guy and I accepted straight away. I want to be involved in the biggest fights. So I'm not in the sport to mess around and take these, I don't want to say bums, but yeah, fighting nobodies and fighting bums, you know. So I want to be involved in big fights. Saturday night, no looking past that. That's a stepping stone and getting towards these fights, and then I want big names.
But I'm assuming, again, with your conversation with Eddie Hearn, that's what he would have said to you as well. He doesn't want you fighting in your, I'm not going to use that term, but what you're saying is nobody's bum. In your words or his words, he doesn't want you doing that either.
Look, nobody who gets into a boxing ring is a bum, let me just make that clear, but just fights that are going to propel my career forward rather than stagnate me in the same position or move me backwards. I don't see the point in that. So yeah, obviously Eddie's a promoter. Eddie wants the biggest fights possible as well. I've been preaching to Eddie about a new market in Dublin. If we go to Croke Park with Katie next May, I can do the Tree Arena for the next 4 to 5 years and I can sell that out. This time next year I can see myself headlining in the Tree Arena and selling that out. And announce a boxing show in Dublin in the morning, it's going to sell out. So big fights in Dublin, sell out shows. That's the plans for the next 3 to 4 years. Big names, big fights.
Let's finish off by talking about your challenge this weekend at the OVO Arena in Wembley. The undefeated Belmedi, I hope we've pronounced that correctly. What do you know about him? A little bit relatively unknown on the scene, but what do you know about him? How much of him have you actually seen?
Not much, to be honest. I seen his last fight was on YouTube, so we've watched clips of that. But other than that, not much. That he's 16-0. Don't know who he's really fought. But I believe that this is just such a massive step up for him in class, in occasion, in event. He's going to be booed to the ring by 7,000 Irish people. Maybe he might thrive under that, I don't know. But just a step up in class, I believe. He's fought a couple of guys, 17 and one guy last time, and went to points with him and beat him by a couple of points, lost a couple of rounds, and if I didn't get that guy out there in 2 rounds, I'd be disappointed, you know. So that's as much as I know about him. He does look quite good, quite skillful. He thinks he has a bang a little bit, but I believe this is a huge step up in class for him, and I think he's just out of his depth on Saturday night.
Okay, not long to find out. What's the day today? Thursday today. You know exactly what day because it's weighing day tomorrow.
You always catch me the day before weigh-ins when I'm drawn. But
I'll get you when you're available. Like, it's been hard work, mate.
When I'm narky, I'm actually narky now. So get me tomorrow. I'll actually be in a good mood, even though I seem chirpy now.
No, you seem all right now. Listen, I won't take too much longer of your time, Gary. Listen, appreciate your time as always. Yep, weigh-in tomorrow and then Saturday night live on the Zone. It's on. So go out there and do your thing.
Appreciate it, Cougs. Yeah, Saturday night is crunch time, so everybody tune in and expect an explosive performance.
Gary Cully, thank you very much.
share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.